stays
I
out a
think you
little
know
while.
about what I'm talking to, Deanna, you know, and it's embarrassing, and I was telling her this morning, we need to put something maybe on the recording, but anyway, it's full, and I think she said you was gonna put it on her website, but a lot of people don't go to the website.
How long does it normally stay out? It stays out a little bit once it goes out, doesn't it?
Well, usually it'll come back on pretty quick. It just depends. Sometimes the phone will go totally out. You know, sometimes we don't even have it.
I was
It'll
talking
all
to
light
Barbara,
up and go out. But
it just
you can be
lasts.
talking and kind of fried. It's really embarrassing. I don't know what to
Is
answer
this
to.
through the internet? Does it go through the internet to connect back and forth, or is it through separate lines?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
separate
Mr.
lines.
Morgan is speaking on what's an AT&T problem we've been dealing with since November. And Dee and I have been talking with them and technical people and trying to get it resolved. But I'm working on some other things too that I'll be coming to the board with, what you and I have been
Right.
talking about.
Like I say, the next 30, 35, 40 days, it's our peak time, and after that, you know, it kind of
We're
falls
working on
off.
it,
And
Mr. Morgan.
We don't think that we have I don't think, let me rephrase this, I'm not gonna throw us all under a bus here, but I don't think we have a valid contract with these people.
We're not on the contract.
So there's something fishy going on with this, but he's right, we need to figure this out and get it taken care of.
And if we could get, I don't know, there's a lot of helpful information on the recording, but we may need to put that on. Is it Synergetics? Do we have a contract with them?
Well, if the phone's not working, they can't get to the recording. The only thing is.
What I'm saying, just say we're on hold for 5 minutes before one of my people answer the phone. Just put in that recording message, you know, once you talk to one of my people, then maybe this phone call may be dropped, you know, due to the phone service. I don't know whether that'd be something we could add to it, but we got a lot of helpful information, so can't put too much information on there. But if you think you're gonna get it resolved pretty soon, that'd be great.
How many lines do you have?
We're working on some
Unlimited.
things.
But we only got 2 people that's answering, but, I mean, everybody in the office can be talking at the same time, but we only got 2 that's answering the phone.
Okay.
So we're working on that, and we need to get that resolved as quickly as we can.
We're working on it. It's
Thank you
an AT&T
very much.
problem, but we're looking at some other options.
Some other options. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, both.
You have a great day.
Thank you.
Have a happy New Year. Backing up to the
Motion to acknowledge.
motion we got a motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the pro vote sign.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, what we'll do, we'll back up to appointments. And here I have a list of appointments. I guess I can just take them in the order that I have. Our Tippah County Fire Coordinator.
Move we
pleasure, board?
reappoint. Second.
There's been motion and second that we reappoint Mr. Patrick Warner. Are there any questions concerning the motion? Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the pro voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right, moving to the next one, our Tippah County Road Manager.
Motion to reappoint.
Got a motion
A second.
to reappoint Hal Baggett. Is there any discussion concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. All those opposed, same sign. Opposers have it. Moving to the next one, attorney. What's the pleasure of the board on?
I move we
board attorney?
reappoint.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Williams, that we reappoint Attorney Rob Robinson for County Board Attorney. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. Moving to the next item, County Administrator.
Motion to reappoint.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery, that we reappoint Mr. Lois Fong for County Administrator. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes 4-1.
I'm opposed.
Moving to the next item, and this particular person has really 3 appointments here. This is for engineering services for the county engineer, for the state aid engineer, and for the LSBP engineer.
Motion to reappoint Mr. Clyde Pritchard.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard, that we reappoint Mr. Clyde Pritchard for the county engineer, state aid engineer, and LSBP engineer. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes 4-1. Moving to the next one, Octavia County Emergency 911.
Motion to reappoint.
Second.
Been motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery, that we reappoint Ms. Kristen Campanella Watson. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate.
Motion to reappoint Ms. LaShonda.
Been motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard, that we reappoint Ms. Shalonda Sykes. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. Veterans Affairs Officer.
Motion reappoint.
Is there a second? Been motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard, that we reappoint Ms. Patricia Hobson. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by their proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to our next item, Mr. Rasheem Muhammad.
We didn't know.
We did know.
Yeah, that was, yeah, that was Chris. I made that second.
Okay, okay, all right. Come on.
Good enough.
No, oh, well, yeah, somehow I missed it on my sheet.
Did I miss anything before we
No.
got everything? Okay, good. Good morning, Mr. Muhammad.
Good morning, how's it going again?
Yes, sir, great.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You happy?
Oh, I see it, yes, okay, come on.
I had the pleasure of, whenever you're ready to start, I guess. I had the pleasure of listening to some gentlemen in the hallway with Mr. Morgan and Mr. Warren. They were talking about the 1966 Ford and the 1970 Ford Bronco, and the ACs don't work in them. But the interesting thing about it, they talked about vocational school, right? Which is workforce development. I heard some phone issues up here earlier. We snickered in the back, because that's one of the reasons we're here today to discuss the workforce initiative through broadband telecom and what we do with veterans. So after a couple of trips here in Mississippi, we met with Sally Doherty, and the last time we spoke, I told you guys there'll be 162 million coming to the States. And then me and Sally Doherty had a conversation about that 162 million, because I was trying to direct it here to Starkville, Maven area. So after thousands of questions about people from Mississippi, I made it simple. I just got a one-pager and went into talking about a little bit who we are and what we are looking to do. And the goal was to try to come and speak with the county and ask them if they were interested in becoming an ISP. Given the phone issues and concerns, if you decide to do that, that goes to a P3 agreement, right? It gives you kind of a course description or a company description of what telecom is, right? And the importance of building a workforce platform to meet the need, right? Currently, right now, Mississippi doesn't have a bona fide training program. If I'm asked about East Mississippi, that's splicing, right, or power. What we're talking about is a full-term workforce development training center in this area to meet the needs of people from Mississippi. That's the only way you're going to be able to get on projects, if you have a workforce that is able to meet the need of the small businesses. That's AT&T and telecom. All right? So if we're familiar with what telecom is, that's telecommunication and broadband. That's what you've been speaking about. Why did I come to the state? Because I was looking for the military bases. We did a SWOT analysis in Mississippi, and we were trying to figure out what areas that were most efficient for them to improve upon. And so we actually come into the actual high schools, and we build what they call CCMRs, which is career military readiness programs to get those students coming out of school certified in understanding what telecom construction is. The next thing that we do, we look at the colleges and we look at whoever else probably has some knowledge about this. And actually what Scott does right now is consider low voltage. We'll take a person like Scott and cross-train them into telecom to meet the need of economic development. Why is that important? Because if companies like AT&T and Comcast come here and they don't have a workforce, guess what happens? They come to Texas, Louisiana, someone else, and they bring those individuals in. What we're here today to discuss is how do we actually move forward with either a P3, right, which is saying that we're interested in becoming an ISP of our own, and with our partnership with the colleges, the high schools, or K through 12 ourselves in the community, we can be able to handle that. Or we go to plan B and say we're not ready for that, we want to do a training center. We want to be able to train the individuals in the area.
When you say ISP, that's an internet service provider?
Internet service provider.
Okay.
Internet service providers are AT&T, Comcast, Verizon. Those are the ones who come in and provide the internet for those who are not familiar.
How
with
would yours be any different? We already support Community-Ville and all of these workforce. The county taxpayers are already supporting all these programs. We have in-school programs that we're supporting. We're already supporting all these in-training services. The taxpayers are already doing that. So what would be different from yours? I mean, we've got extension service we're supporting. We've got the Community-Ville out there that we're supporting. We've got an in-service thing in the high school that we're supporting. I mean, the taxpayers are already putting a lot of money into this already. what would be the benefit of your program versus what they're already paying for? I mean, we've got a wide
Because you don't
spectrum of
have-
things.
You have a wide spectrum, but you don't have telecom broadband. I know that because I studied your state. The only two colleges that actually offer anything is East Mississippi that's coming up with something, and another one in the east somewhere, I'm not sure. But what we do is we write the programs up for telecom, high demand occupancy. Those have to be written up. That money comes from the federal government, which is the Department of Labor, then it comes to your states. If you don't have the platform set up, you can't receive the funding. So I don't know the other programs they have in your county, but I'm pretty sure they don't have telecom broadband right now.
Do we have a funding breakdown? I
Yeah.
guess that's the question is, I know that's some federal dollars, right, that you're
Right.
gonna be looking into, and maybe some state dollars too. But I guess is how is this gonna be
The
funded?
way we look at it is that there's federal dollars that's earmarked towards telecom broadband. We are looking to get those dollars earmarked to this area. That's what we're looking to do. In order to do that, we also tying in workforce development program that gives the option to the county or public means to say, hey, we have a workforce program that can be get individuals hired onto projects. We can send you a financial breakdown. We can tell you we currently apply for the USDA funding for $2 million for the Starkville, Chickasaw County. It was rejected because we didn't have the MOU and certain paperwork in position. I think I was speaking with you about that, Rob. And so what happens, we can give you all the financial funding that's out here. Right now we have one coming in that's due with Delta Regional Authority. That's due on February 28th. We have one, USDA is February 28th, and Delta Regional Authority is due March 14th. We have identified the funding sources that's going to be coming to the state, and we think by putting this in position, we can actually access that funding.
What would the county be on the, one of the questions that I kept trying to figure out was what would the county be obligated in funding sources? In other words, is there a percentage that would have to come from the county to be able to keep this afloat? How long would this, even if you got the funding 100% in the first 2 years, is there a third year that the county would end up having to be on the hook for later? Those were the kinds of things that I
Yeah, the
couldn't
county's
wrap my
not,
head around.
the money we were looking at was the ARPA funding that you received.
Right.
The ARPA funding went towards workforce and broadband infrastructure, which I had printed out right here.
Right.
So they're not on the hook, but outside of being that they're the P3 that's gonna have the money, they're gonna pay us to be able to implement what we're talking about. So they're the shareholder, the money comes to them, then us, and then we implement.
Was it the ARPA funding that the county had already received, or was it the ARPA funding that the state has received that that we would have to go forward and try to ask for more?
That's both, yes.
So it would be a percentage of it would be what the county
What
has
the
received?
county had, and then what goes
Okay.
up to the states.
Can I ask you one other thing? When you go to your website, Retrain America, you look, I mean, it's, even when you go under contact us, there's no information like where y'all based. I mean, there's nothing on there. When you go partners, you said you have 2 partners on here, Baltimore Corpse and Catalyte. That's it. But I mean, when you look up contact us, all you get is an information thing. I mean, it's very, very vague to tell us even what this is. Like, so where are y'all based out of? And when did this start? I mean, I'm just asking because I'm looking right now and there's...
Yeah, you can ask any question you like. That's what this is about.
Okay.
So we're based out of Houston, and we actually are merging our websites. It's EDS Tech. I can see the updated website. We're merging them together. We're based out of Houston. We actually got started in 2015. I wrote up, and Governor Abbott actually approved us for $1.3 million to start the initiative in Texas. By 2020, U.S. Senator John Cornyn got us back into activation with Retrain America, which is a nonprofit organization for veterans initiatives. When we came out of, so to speak, Hurricane Harvey, and we had a lot of water, we weren't able to operate. So for 2 years, the governor came in and helped us in 2019. By 2020, we had COVID. So what you're seeing now is the merging and moving around of our sites to one site to be able to get the information. So I have no problem backing that up and sending you any information to support that.
Attorney Roberts, you know, things seem to be like they're getting more complex and more complex to where you can't just come in and take a 10-minute slot out of the board meeting and make a decision.
Right.
In lieu of this virtual world we live in, what would prevent the board from having a virtual workshop to get a better understanding about this, and where the board members can get on virtually with his team and whomever else, the public or whatever, to kind of get a more of an in-depth presentation about this, because it's obvious that this is something that we're not gonna be able to understand and grasp here in 10 minutes.
Right.
And so that would be my
I don't think
suggestion.
there's anything that would stop you from doing that at all. Matter of fact, I think that would be a blessing all the way around. Because I'll be honest with you, buses are, I've sat down with him and tried to understand this, and either I'm just not computer savvy enough to understand all of the dynamics that are at play here, and so it would be very beneficial, I think, for us to, if this is something that y'all are interested in, to do that and figure out kind of where we're going. My biggest concerns were how much was gonna be out of your budget in the future, and I just never could quite understand that part of it.
Well, I guess the only question I do have for you, and I've heard all this, is it says you need 4.5 million for a training center. So that would be, where does that come from? Is that money you're trying to get from the federal level? Like,
It's a mix of the money that we can accomplish right here, and then what I can get from the federal level. I'm giving you the cost of a training site. If we want to do a training site, that training site would be unique to Mississippi. That means the people will be drawn to that training site. That's me throwing it out there saying this is what the cost would cost to build.
Where is the data of your success too? Like in the past, how successful have you been? Because like I said, I was looking on the website too. So you're saying buy into us, but you know, I would like to see, I mean, what are the results? How many people have you actually trained? I mean, how successful have you been in the
I can get
past?
you documentation, let us support what we trained in Texas, and I can actually have that backed up. I made it on ABC, Fox News, and CBS because of our success with veteran training. So I can back up and give you the data for that.
Okay,
Check.
okay. Well, I mean, that would be important, you know, for us to see is the documentation of your success where you've come into an area that needed training, so we can make sure that this is something valuable we need, you know, our taxpayers need to support.
Thank you for the question.
Mr. President, I think has a good idea. This is something that sounds like it has potential, but I think if we could get an online workshop,
Set it up in
learn
this
more
form.
about it.
You all set it up in this form, and then you give us the dates and go from there.
I'll get the documentation that you asked for.
Thank you.
I'll send that all over, and then we could talk a little bit more.
You do have some contact
Thank you very
information
much.
on here too.
Yeah, I'll
And
email the individuals and get that contact information to you and information about the company.
Thank you so
Look
much.
forward to hearing from you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Make sure it wasn't my fault.
We'll get a motion, a second, if you don't mind,
So
acknowledge the
moved.
report. Motion by
Second.
Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by their proper vote. Motion passed unanimous. Mr. Dudley Waldrop, Rubbish Landfill, sir, you can come on forward this morning.
May I speak from my position?
Yes, sir, you have that privilege.
All
Good
right.
morning.
I have talked with the director of the regional landfill, and he gave me a package. And I've appeared before boards before about my rubbish landfill. And I need a letter from the board's attorney to proceed to get this finalized. So, that's my reason for being here.
Any updates, Attorney Rock?
What he's talking about, and if the board wishes this to be done, I will absolutely do whatever the board asks me to do. But right now, what he's asking you to do is to say that we're in favor of his landfill out there as it stands right now. The problem I've got, and I talked to the regional people over there, and they're saying that he has to be a part of that, make the plan, the overall plan. And right now, he's not a part of that plan. And it's, just in my opinion, and I could be wrong about this, it's putting the cart before the horse. Now, that being said, I'm not trying to interfere with his business at all. What I'm saying is that they've got to give him the okay for the regional authority, because they're the bosses of this, and I don't want us to be doing something before we're supposed to do it, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm not suggesting to you that we don't need it or that we don't want to do this. I'm suggesting that he has to go before that regional authority and get the okay first.
And I have done that.
We haven't
I have
gotten
the
anything.
package.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I have the package. I went out to the regional landfill and the packet was prepared for me. So once I get the letter from the board, then,
No,
the full.
No, sir, that's not the way that works. They have to tell us that you're a part of that plan, and then we would give you the thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever this board does, which I'm sure that they don't have a problem with it, it's just, we have to do it, we'll end up messing you up. If we send in the information that you're asking for right now, that's not gonna be beneficial to you. We've got to have their authority to say, yes, that you're a part of that plan, and right now, that's not where you're at in the process.
I went to Saltillo, to Timco, who's been operating since the 90s. Who has less land to receive rubbish than I. And I've got the equipment to bury. Mr. Tim May showed me and was very, very nice to lead me through the process, show me how to give the tickets to the people who bring rubbish, how to set up the cameras, and and how he charged. So I set my charges in similar to his, and he said put the cameras up because there's a lot of people that think they can dump for free. Well, air ain't free. So my son is working with me on this project. Mr. Pritchard has given me some guidance, so I'm trying to do it right the first time.
Mr. Walter, I was a member of that executive board out at the regional landfill, and our attorney is just saying that when that regional landfill was set up, it was set up so that anybody else that came into Ottawa County requesting a landfill would have to get the okay through that regional authority, through that executive board. That would be the first step, and if they okay it, then this board would give their blessings, but it has to be okay through that regional board first.
I also talked to them initially, and they said, and I told them that I tried to rent the old landfill, the city-county landfill, and they were out of compliance. My landfill is only a quarter of a mile or so north of that one. And I have prepared and making further preparations for an all-weather road where the people can come in there and dump and make a complete circle, come in the north end and go out the south end. So I'm trying to accommodate the people who have that need. And
Mr. Wadra has been to this board several times, and I wish that we could, you, Attorney Robinson, that you could communicate with Mr. Wadra with some detailed information about what need to be done, and make sure those documentation is in place.
I will do whatever this board wishes, but here's the problem that we're running into, and I've known Mr. Waldrop since I was a little kid, but it puts me in a conflicted situation when I represent the board, and he's coming and asking for me to do legal work. We've got enough issues that are floating around out there, and I don't want to put him in a situation where, because I'm conflicted, it messes his business situation up. So it would be best if he.
My desire is that we would not have this conversation again, that he would know exactly what he needs to know.
Yes, sir.
Before coming to the board again,
Yes, sir.
and all those documentation would be in place.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know whether you would be a part of that,
I
or
will
he
be
need
happy to
that.
try to help him.
I think that requires some kind of communication.
Yes, sir.
So we would not go through this type conversation again.
I can take care of that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Are we all clear on what needs to happen?
We need a motion to acknowledge.
Motion to acknowledge, and Mr. Attorney, if you don't mind, correspond with him through a letter.
Yes, sir.
CC the board,
Yes,
so
sir.
they know exactly what was said. Any, motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions on the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by their public voting sign.
Yeah.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Waldrop.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right,
you.
moving right along, Mr. Patrick Warren, Fire Station Edition quote. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
I was late getting these in. I got some an additional quote or two. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay.
That's an addition to it.
Yes, sir.
What you got, Pat?
Thank you.
Same one as in our.
There's
Huh?
another one underneath that. There's another one underneath that first page.
It might have been two stuff. I think I had one extra. This has been, we've discussed this a little bit with some previous meetings. And I asked to get quotes and y'all said it was okay. I did get a quote. This is for the Sturgis Station out at Craig Springs. We need 2 additional bays added on out there. Now, I did get one quote, and when the quote came back, it was right at $75,000. And if I'm right on this, if it's 75,000 is the limit where you have to bid it out. So I didn't want to go any further on that because if you know, sometimes we can go off 2 quotes, 3 quotes, and then sometimes we have to bid it out. So I did want to kind of bring that up to y'all's attention. Do y'all want me to move forward with this and bid this out? We need 2 additional bays out at Craig Spring stations. We got a tanker truck ordered and it's coming in, and we don't have room to put anywhere, and we don't want to sit outside the station.
Is it 75,000? I thought it was less than that.
It was 50, but I think this last year they moved it up to 75. And I gotta confirm that.
That's correct.
Miss Deanna's working
Okay,
on that.
okay.
She's looking into that with audit department.
Okay.
But I didn't want to go further and get 2 or 3 more quotes since we're right there on that borderline of 75,000. I don't know if y'all wanted to bid it out or not.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Montgomery, that we accept this low quote. Are there any questions concerning it?
These, well,
All those in favor, let it be known by the public voting sign. Motion passes, unanimous.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Go ahead, you fine, go ahead.
This is the station that I'm talking about. We had an accident out there, so we got some heavy equipment out there right now doing some work, and one of the equipment backed into the station and knocked out a wall, as you can see right here. Luckily, the additional that we're adding on, they're going to take this wall out anyway, so it's not going to cost us any. So that I forgot to add that in there. So this won't affect anything, but I did want to bring this to the board's
It
attention.
was a loader. That's where they had dumped all the rock that they're putting on the gravel roads, and it was somebody from like Tabal County in a loader that damaged the building.
But luckily it won't affect us because we're going to replace that wall anyway with the new addition. Also, I wanted to discuss Supervisor Williams requested me to get some information on the Moore High Road fire station. I've had some peers and stuff ask me about that. There was some land donated to the county about 10 years ago with the intent of putting a fire station out at the Moore High Road at this church right there. We have a water tower out there, a water tank right there. I did get a quote on that, and you can see it. It's behind it. Now that will be a.
Is this?
Yes, sir.
So that's not Sturgis. That's
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. That's a misprint. He put Sturgis on there.
Moore High.
But that's Moore High.
Yes, yes.
And that would be a new station. There's about 120 homes in that area that is not covered under the rating bureau, which does not have, each station has a 5-mile radius around it, and they get their insurance based off that rating. Well, that 5-mile, that area in that particular part of the county does not exceed that far, so it does not have any coverage. Now, if we put a new station there, those people in that district will get lowered down, probably from a 10 to 8, and they will save some money. And it will benefit the county that way. But Mr.
Well,
Supervisor Williams requested me to get the information, and I just got it, and I brought it to the board's attention. And that's a rough estimate of the station. I kind of told him what we were kind of looking at, and that's the price on there. Now, if y'all want to proceed forward with that, I can go about getting more estimates, but obviously it will have to be bid out.
We do need to try and include everybody in the county in terms of fire protection. So that's an area that's without any fire protection. So I wish we could address that particular area and provide fire protection in that area.
It's not without fire protection, it's just got a 10 rating.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. The District 5 covers that area. It just does not have a rated district. That
Where it
certain
doesn't
amount
cover,
has.
it doesn't cover that particular area. It stops off.
Well, if there's a 911 call to that area, District 5 will respond with fire truck units out there. It's just that those houses are not getting a rated district. They're
Yeah,
at a
man.
10 rate right now.
Yeah. And that means too that they would not enjoy the benefit of lower insurance costs and home costs and that kind of service that will be provided.
Yes, sir. And it's just my job to bring it to the board, since Supervisor Williams.
It's 5 miles as a crow flies,
It-
or is by the roads?
By the roads, by the roads.
So-
Not as crow flies.
Right there where the Octop Community Center's at, that fire station right there.
It will be pretty close to it.
So why does, I guess
Well, if you look at the Octot station, in that 5 mile radius, it goes like this. Well, the houses that are not covered are right here.
on the top
Yeah.
end of the loop.
Yes, sir. And so the place that was donated to the county in the area right there, if you look at that 5 mile radius, it's about 2 miles. But if you do a 5 mile radius around that, well, it will get those additional houses in there and cover the rest of the county. Or should.
How far away from the existing station would you have to move?
Well, on a best case basis, you want to be 5 miles and 5 miles, so that way it's 10 miles in between the departments. But this particular area we were looking at, that was donated to us, and where the water tower is by the church there, it's probably only 2 miles from the actual Octot station right now, the District 5 station. So
But that area that was donated would take on those 120 residents that are without service.
yes, sir. Because it will give an additional
Right.
2 miles and it will cover that little area.
And it would be, I was just wondering, sort of like Supervisor Montgomery, with that station being there, what's the next nearest station? And with, I guess, with the Bureau, with other trucks that could come in to assist, that wouldn't help get that?
No,
rating
sir,
down?
because
Okay.
the rating bureau only rates you within that 5 mile radius.
Okay.
5 mile radius.
Road-wise.
How do you wish that we move forward now? I didn't understand that.
Can we just advertise for the station?
Advertise, yes.
Can we
That's
do this
up to
too?
the
And
board.
look, I
Do we
want,
have the money?
well, look, I want fire coverage.
Well, we can
From top to bottom.
always apply for
Are we done budget for it?
we can apply
Can-
for grants and things of that nature. Until we approve it, we cannot apply for any type of grant funding or anything of that nature.
I have not applied for any grants on it yet, which,
Do we have to have and I'm just asking, do we have to have the bids for that or just quotes? Like if we got quotes and then put it out for bid, could we apply for some grants?
possibly I'd have to talk to Ms. Phyllis about that.
I would be in favor of moving forward, put it out for some quotes.
Okay. I'm just asking, I didn't know.
But too, and I've asked you, can we get, and maybe, could you come before us with a map of the county? And just, hey, top 3 places that we need fire stations. It would affect 120 houses, it would affect 75 houses, 300. Just, in other words, this may be something that we could do 2 at one time, 3 at one time, bid them out, and it may, kind of have a better price on it, and then also, just multiple stations, because I know out west,
I can do that.
there's, I think it's 200 or 300 houses it would probably affect if we had another station.
There's one other area in the county, it's in between Addison, Sturgis, and Central, that little location right there. There's about 220 homes that's not covered. They're at a 10 rating
They're
also.
10 ratings.
Yes, sir.
So,
There's a motion to advertise for bids, and I'm gonna second that motion.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Williams to advertise for bids on new station in District 5. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion
Aye.
passed unanimously.
And then I would like for, and I guess if we would task, I'll make a motion to task our fire coordinator to look also at that area that you were discussing as far as between Adenton, Sturgis, Central, and just see how many houses that affects as well.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams, that we do that assessment. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign.
What,
Motion passed
couple quick
unanimously.
things.
Yes, sir.
B.O.S. Schoolhouse community, I think it's about time for recertification. How are we on that? And,
They,
our rating.
yes, sir, they should be pretty good. I think every department of the county, I think there's 1 or 2, but everybody should be about 5 years away. Because they just came, and I think B.O.S. Schoolhouse has got another 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
But I will check on that.
Second thing, is there any way you can get a bid on, cause our fire stations are starting to look a little dingy and dirty, just maybe getting a bid on pressure washing our make them look better, you know, the concrete out in front, the building has got old
Yes,
black
sir.
mildewy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Soft wash. We
Yeah,
can be
just-
able to do that soft wash.
Yeah, and that'll help extend the life of them and, you know.
I will. I've got somebody who can do that. And we did make some improvements out at B.O.S. Schoolhouse. You know, we painted that community center, and we've had
Yeah,
probably
that's-
10 or 15 people call up here and say it looks so much better, and they were so happy with it. They were happy with that.
And I use some of my 4-year-old playing
Yes, sir.
money and pour the
Concrete.
slab back there so they could, yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Warner, have you been in communication with Ms. Kristen about a safe room on Octop Fire Station?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've talked about it, but you know, it's still up to, you know, we got to decide on where to put it at, because we talked, you know, we kind of discussed putting it at that place, that location right here that we were talking about. We're putting the fire station at the same location. It's just a process that's in the works.
Well, that would be good, but do we have enough room at that location?
At this particular location, they donated, you know, the land that they donated is a pretty good size, but some of it's not cleared off. If we were to go there, we would probably have to clear off some more trees and have it leveled out just a little bit more. If it were to go at this church location right here. Now, if it were to go at the Octop station, I think we're good to go right there.
Yeah, I think she's looking for a definite location. She wants us to tell her, I believe, what location we have in mind.
And I think that's gonna be, you know, whatever the grant allows too. I don't know.
She has to have one going forward, a location
Yeah, so to
going
submit
forward.
the application, I have to have a GPS location.
Yeah, have to have a location. Could you give her a GPS location that we could decide on what location it's going to be?
Sure, we can work on that.
And I can submit it now, if they approve it, and you decide to change it, we start over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need some more clarity? Oh, we clear on this here?
Can we, just to be sure, the Sturgis Fire Department, that was
The seven.
accepted for us to do
Yeah.
that? Okay, the reason I'm asking is so close to 75,000, we do have to have it out for bid, but I just wanted to make sure, just,
If we need to put it out for bid, then we need to do that.
but
I
it,
thought-
I mean.
It's
the-
below.
It's below, okay.
Okay, I
just
see,
wanted to make
you're
sure.
saying it's so close to it.
It's so close to it, I just wanted to make sure, but if they bid it, I mean, if they earn that, if they
Don't have-
exceed that,
If we need to go back and redo it, let us
Don't
know,
have
but
to-
it's
don't
not
have to
above
change it.
75.
All we can do is save money, you know what I mean? Somebody may come in, but now.
Well, let's go back and let's bid.
I don't have a problem with that.
I make motion then to bid the Sturgis Fire Station addition that we previously talked about.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Miller. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Ms. Kristen Campanella Watson, Timothy Watershed Discovery.
Well, you miss Captain Watson.
Oh, Captain Watson. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't think he'd probably get Either way, y'all can.
Yeah, he won't say
Mr. President, I'm
anything.
gonna ask that the board go
Age
into
before beauty,
executive
right?
session for mine, because we're talking about courthouse security.
Security issue.
So if you wanna take the others first and then.
That'd be great.
do that.
That'd be great. And then after that, we're gonna take Mr. Pritchard. I think he has one of the items he needs to report to us. Miss Watson.
You come first. So.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for letting me keep my job. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have some information on the TV watershed. I'm sorry, I didn't
Okay, it's okay. It's the same thing. I believe.
Yeah, we got those.
Oh, y'all already got it? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, this
we
is
got
just a summary of the big packet. So the big packet was about 130 pages. So this one has the maps. Did y'all have the maps in yours?
I'm gonna take one.
I just kind of made a summary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in there.
And
They're in there.
We had the map.
It's all in
Well,
there.
there
We
you
take
go.
the
All
extra
right.
stuff too, but I think the map
Okay.
is in there.
I'm just telling you, the foresters are thanking you right
Yeah.
now.
And Canon printer. Do y'all have these? This one is the Knoxville.
Yeah, that
Watershed.
one.
I guess all of that's in that.
No,
Yeah,
this is a
that
different one. So there's 3 different watersheds that they're doing revisions on. And what it is so our flood maps, or flood insurance maps, are redone every 10 years. The last time we had it done was in 2010. So we should have had it in 20, but COVID kind of backed everything up. So they're getting ready to do those now. This is the Knoxville watershed, and then this is Big Black. So y'all need those. Just so when y'all start having people ask, because what is going to change is there are probably some that are not in a floodplain now that probably will be added in the floodplain, and it could be some that are in the floodplain that may be taken out. So just so in case y'all start getting people complain about it, y'all will get all the flood maps once they get through with everything, and you'll have to adopt them. So you'll have a chance to look at all of them before we get it done, but it's just kind of letting y'all know what all was coming. I got some notes I wanted to share. Well, I don't know what my note is. But
Talk
there's
about the
about,
sirens too. We're gonna talk about the sirens.
yes, but for TB watershed, let me finish that one real quick. So 47% of the county is in that TB watershed. So that one probably is gonna be a lot of changes. And I talked to Mr. Pritchard earlier. What I need is anything that we have done, from Clyde's side on in the engineering side, any flood studies that he's conducted to add to their flood studies. So the FEMA will do a flood study for Ottaville County. The last time we had one was in 2010. But anything that we can offer them, anything that we've done, changes where it's changed, and he told me that he would get me some stuff that he had. We'll submit all that. So I guess I just need approval from y'all to get with Clyde, to get everything that we need, and then submit all that to FEMA on all 3 watersheds.
I'll make motion for that.
Motion by Supervisor McDermott, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
And so 2 sirens. So we have the Maven siren is up and the Sturgis siren is up. We are under a tornado watch now till 5 o'clock today. The safe room is open, but those 2 sirens are not connected yet. And so I sent a message to both mayors to let them know they're not connected, but they're up. They have to come to our office and do some things. But those are solar powered, so we won't have to do all that. And they will go off automatically once the Weather Service issues a warning for those areas. So we don't have to push the button for those. But yeah, that's it for right now. And the other fire stations are coming. We just haven't started all those sirens yet.
How many people did you have come for the warming during the freeze? A lot?
0.
Huh?
0.
Oh.
I'm not sure we would task that again.
Okay.
It took us a lot to get a lot of people. We kind of pushed it out, as y'all know, to everybody to try to get some volunteers. I was short anyway with 911, and so my people were having to work dispatch. So we didn't have a lot of people. So we pushed it out, and we had a lot of volunteers that come, but no one come.
Okay.
We had one that showed up at 8 o'clock as we were closing that needed some assistance, so he knew where to go to get the assistance, but he didn't want to stay in the safe room, which OSERS helped us get him a place to stay. He had a different situation going. So my thought is next time we get to do that is to place like some hot yellow cards on the doors where they could be seen real good, and tell them if they need assistance, call this number, and then let's work it as they come in. Because I think it was needed.
Okay. I just wondered.
But we had a
if
lot of
anybody-
calls, and so to err on the side of caution and don't want somebody stuck out in the cold, we did open it.
Yeah.
But like I said, that was thanks to Mr. Lois worked, and their sheriff's department, the police department worked, fire department worked. So everybody was able to do it. We couldn't have done it if everybody hadn't chipped in to come in.
The mayor worked also.
And the mayor, yes, she did. She worked also. So it took everybody. We had some cots. There was a lady in Columbus that brought some cots over in case they did, you know, come. They would be more comfortable than our straight up chairs. But you know, thankfully
Sound good. We
did
certainly
have it.
appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am. You have a good
Thank you,
day.
Chris.
Thank you.
I need to make a motion, make a motion to update, acknowledge, yeah.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Williams, to accept that report. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper vote sign. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Clyde Pritchard, come on up for engineering update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I too appreciate your reappointment and confidence in our people. Just a quick update, the Harris Road Bridge. We will take bids on that February 9th at 10 o'clock. That bid date has been set. Mr. Lewis, you got that? Sturgis Maben plans are now at state aid for that project. Just by way of a reminder, I expect to get the contracts back from Falcon on the Octok Road project at any time, so I'll need definition from the board on funding for the Octok Road, on how you elect to fund that.
I thought we did that last
Yeah,
meeting.
we did, we did the last meeting. There's, there will be a total of $893,421.60. Let me repeat, $893,421.60 coming from state aid. State aid. And that's going along with, and these quotes are coming from the minutes that was approved this morning.
Okay, I've not seen those, and I'll just need a copy of that board order authorizing that.
That's a combination of the two state aid funding that we approved. And there's an additional $500,000 of opera funds. And I've been in communication with Mr. Lois, and we've been back and forth in communication about this, so I think both of us are in agreement that this is an approach to take. So I do have this funding listing, and I don't know whether.
Did you print out a copy?
I printed out a copy.
My question is, Supervisor Montgomery laid out a path forward at the last meeting. Is that the path we're following?
This is the
It
path
is.
we following, yes.
So what happened, you all made some adjustments to the offer for him, but Supervisor Williams needed to decide where all the money was coming from, out of all of his allocations for the opt-out. Because we
Okay.
need to bring in that state aid document showing where he's pulling all the funds from. That's what he's doing.
Right, right. Because Supervisor Trainer volunteered his portion. Yeah.
So
Okay.
the state aid and now the 1.5 offer and.
What I really need is
Seven,
a signed board order saying XXXXX.
Mhm.
Where it's
That's-
at.
that's-
It's 7 line items.
A motion,
just paying.
a motion that we provide, Mr. Pritchard, our engineer, with the board order stating where the funding for the Octop Road is gonna come from.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper vote sign.
That'll take care of
Motion passes
that.
unanimously.
You had asked me to look at a road issue on the Poorhouse Bridge, that little section right there. That's not, unfortunately, that's not a road issue, that's a bridge issue. The head wall on the bridge is rotted out. So we're gonna
Is
need
that that's what's making the hole in the asphalt?
the material from the road is going down through the head wall to the creek.
It's like that one on Self Creek Road.
Like we fixed dozens in the county. So my question to you now, we can
Poorhouse Road.
We can do a little minor project and let that to bid for you, or you can assign it to the road department. They've done this many times.
I think the road department could do, I mean, I think.
They can handle it. It's gonna require shutting the road down for a little amount of time, but that's up to y'all. They've done it many times. We fixed dozens in the county.
They can. I've identified 2 locations that I have yet to get taken care of. There's some head walls that's rotting and falling away. Maybe we can get it done now.
Well, I mean, it's up to y'all. If you want us to put 2 or 3 together, we could bid those out, or you could do it with the road department.
I
Doesn't
think
matter to me.
if we could get the road department to do it before we get really busy, you know, it's gonna start, I don't know how long it would take, but, you know, that
It's
is
the
such a
time of year
heavily,
now.
that one's kind of time sensitive just because it's so heavily traveled. Is there any way to, I mean, we don't even know who the road manager is at this point, so, but I would say let the road department do it if they can do it.
I would suggest David Harrelson has worked pretty closely with some of your superintendents and what have you in the department in my office. I could get David to give them some guidance and, you know,
Yeah.
if you wanna allocate the road folks.
We can try that, and like I said, if it doesn't, we can back up and punt and put a
Well,
few
I'll
of
just
them
make a
together.
motion for David from Clyde's office to assist the road department to fix the bridge on Poorhouse Road.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning that
What,
motion?
have you got a couple more you'd like to put in there too?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I'll identify. One of them is on Wade Road. I can't think of the other one, but I'll get you the other location.
Could we do Poorhouse first? Would that be
Yeah,
okay,
that's
Supervisor?
fine. Yeah. I'm gonna step out, y'all. My mama had a major surgery
I
this
do.
morning. Don't get a little update.
Yeah.
I don't have much more on Poorhouse Road.
All those in favor of doing Poorhouse Road,
We all-
Wade,
And I
and
have
other road?
one too
Okay.
that I'd like to add later.
Okay, well, you all get it together and get the board up to me and I sign it, and then it'll be official. So, any questions concerning that? All those in favor, let me know by appropriate vote sign. Motion passed unanimously.
Mr. Lewis provided me a copy of the board order approving the additional funding on Poorhouse. I need the signatured order for that.
Yeah, they just got signed this morning. I'll get a copy. Sharon has to give them to me and I'll give it to you.
I'll get with Supervisor Howard on this, Supervisor Trainer, if I understood in the last meeting, they voted to move forward with some improvements on Crawford Road. You and I need to discuss what those limits are.
Okay.
How much of that you wanna do. And the next bridge project that we're currently working on right now is the Sturgis West Point Bridge. Y'all have approved that as a state aid project a while back. And we would anticipate sending that to state aid within the month. Okay?
Yeah,
That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Can we acknowledge the
Motion to
report?
acknowledge.
My motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Montgomery, that we acknowledge the report from Supervisor, from the county engineer. Are there any questions concerning that? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk vote sign.
Just accepting the
Ken,
report.
Real quick, do you and I still need to, do we still need to look at Douglastown Road?
Douglastown and West Reed.
Douglastown
And West Reed.
Douglastown for estimate. in West
Oh,
Reed.
yeah, West, Douglastown for an estimate, yeah, I need an estimate on Douglastown.
That's what I want.
And we'll get together on the other.
Thank you.
With that being said, we got some gentlemen here who came to make a presentation concerning a milling machine. And we want to allow just a few minutes for them to come and make a quick presentation, introduction to us in regards to their services and how they can assist the county. Good morning.
Thank you very much. I'm Mike Burris. I represent Work in America on the milling machine as a manufacturer. I have Stephen Lutz with me that is with Lyle Machinery, the local dealer for the state of Mississippi.
Thanks, sir.
And we're going to talk about a machine. In a lot of compliments to your board meeting, I sit on a couple of boards before, and I understand the time restraints, etc. So I had a really detailed presentation, but I didn't know what our format would be, but we will do just fine here. So as we open it up, if you don't mind, hand mine out. As we open it up to the inside cover, you will see the milling machine of this size is a one-man operation. A lot of the bigger machines will take 2 to 3 people. So the guy on top is loading material into a truck. He's cutting a precise depth up to almost 12 inches, just a little shy of 12. And it loads the material for you. It is very precision grade. Now, the only reason why I'm going to point out the precision grade is you're laying asphalt. Asphalt costs a lot of money. So if you go out with a device that's not cutting a precision grade and you cut a lot deeper than you need to, it's going to get in your pocket with asphalt, okay? So this machine is very capable of doing several feet a minute. It can do small work, it can do large work. You will notice the drum on this machine is located to the rear of the machine. The operator's basically standing on top of it. A bigger mill, like you see used out on the interstate, has a mid-mounted drum, and that requires, then it becomes a 2 or 3 man operation. So with the, turn to this page on operation, you can see some controls that are very
nice in color, very user-friendly, and that's detail backing up for it to be a one-man operation.
Got a camera for a shoot.
Yes, sir, you got, the camera option, I always like to see people get is the minimum of 2, and you do, to your point, you're seeing the conveyor, so you're seeing in the back of that dump truck, if that dump truck's got a board in one corner, he can swing it over and get it. At the same time, this camera and this size machine, you got the right side is the side that we will consider a flush cut. Now you got a plate that'll keep you that way about two inches away from a curb and gutter or something. When I say flush cut, that don't mean you're all the way against it, okay? So, because of the cutter housing. And with that being said, the left side is blind, so the second camera, I can put a vertical line on that screen precisely where the left side of that cutter housing is. And then he can line up, if he had a skip line to the left that he can't see otherwise, the way the machine's made, he can see it on the camera. The control to his left hand is really the brains of the machine. He can operate a little bit of the grade control over on the right console, but the left console is more detailed. So again, you can cut anywhere from, it cuts in tenths, so if you push a button 10 times, you're cutting an inch. You also very precision on slope with it. So we'll go into the next page, which shows level control, and I think basically this is the way the machine comes standard. That would be what I'd recommend. This other stuff's 3D capabilities. Also, something we call multiplex, which is an average in skis. So if you got a big bump in the road, this machine is designed, if you had that option, to help smooth that bump out, okay? A good picture of an operation here, you see it doing some bigger work, and so it's a matter of just making multiple passes. This machine will do the same work that a big machine will do, just it's smaller, so you got more passes to make.
If does it matter what the surface is, you know, whether we do a lot of chip seal, and of course we soil cement, you know, so I'm asking about the depth of soil cement and that kind of, and my third question is on the replacement teeth, is that something that can be done locally? You know, like some equipment, you know, that you put behind tractors and stuff, you know, it's very economical because you just change your own tips and stuff, but some of it has to go back to a factory. So if you don't mind answering those questions.
Your crew will be trained to change the teeth as needed, and they'll be taught on how to know when to change them. Because any machines like this, the most money that you're going to spend is exactly where you're at on the teeth. So
right.
We can hold a drum maintenance school.
How many miles does it go before you have to?
Okay. That's a loaded question, but it's a fair question.
Well, you can depend on me to ask those loaded ones. That's what I do.
That's okay. So I used to sell drill bits for rock quarries, going in and people shooting and blasting. The material on how abrasive it is, a lot of people think it's about hardness. It's not necessarily about hardness, it's how abrasive it is. So I also cover Arkansas. A lot of whip rocks for sharpening knives come from Arkansas. So they're going to eat up a lot of teeth. The state of Louisiana eat up a lot of teeth. It's spotted in Mississippi. It depends on how abrasive the material is out of the rock quarries that your product's made out of. In the state of Tennessee, a bigger machine can run about a week on a set of teeth. And I mean run 8 full day, 5 days a week. There's people in Arkansas and in some places in Louisiana that might be changing 4 or 5 times a day. So it's somewhere in between all that. And it makes no difference whether it's my machine or somebody else's machine. If it's cutting that material, that wear pattern's going to be the same.
Question, and I don't mean to distract you from that. In other words, I see the road that they're cutting is smooth as this board table. What if you're cutting something that the reason you're there, base failures, in other words, this road's just all over the place from patches and things like that. Does that machine, in other words, does it pick that up? In other words, because it's the whole machine's going to move.
Good questions. both of them. This is what we consider a side plate on a cutter housing, okay? The grade control operates through these spark cylinders to where whatever this plate is running on, it's like a ski, okay? So I skipped on you on page 16.
I got you. It makes it float a little bit.
Yes, so all 4 legs of this machine will float. This machine is made to keep itself level. So if we tell this machine to cut 2 inches as an example, and it's in that rough stuff, these legs help through this grade control system keep that machine level, that operator safe, and to precision to your depth of cut.
But it may be that you have to come back and do a second cut.
Sometimes,
Because
yes.
it may be a hole that's bigger, longer, wider than.
Yeah, or we can drop down and just cut that area deeper and then come back up after we get past it.
Okay.
We can do whatever the application calls up to almost 12 inches in depth. Now, there will be more, let's say you needed to cut 10 inches. The machine will do it, but there'll be more material to leave the job today if we cut 2 5s. Because the deeper we cut, the slower the forward motion's gonna be, because it's just like bush hogging or anything else. You feel a load and you're gonna know it's crowded.
Right.
Okay?
How wide of a pass does it make?
This is just about this much
No,
shy
no, no, I
of
mean
48
the-
inches.
Oh, 48 inches,
Mhm.
okay.
And if you have to change you said sometimes it's 4, depending on where you are, 4 times a day or whatever. If you have to change the parts on there, is that something that's simply done with the impact wrench that they can do on site? Is it something that has to go back? I mean.
All right, it will be done on site.
Okay.
And there's 2 different ways of doing it. The standard and the older way would be with a tool by hand, but also we'll furnish you a pneumatic tool as long as you had a service truck or something that had an air compressor on it there, that he'd be able to drive those out with a tool. We also make a hydraulic pick that could run off the machine to do it.
And I'm just asking these questions because
No,
in this
it's
day
fine.
and time, finding employees that care about the county equipment and how it stays, because we can buy brand new stuff and they've got, it just gets torn up. So that's the reason I'm asking, and that's not just in the county, that's anywhere a lot of
You're
times.
very well put.
So-
I'm pushing my 50th year, and everybody across my whole area, people that never had an issue with help, has that issue.
Oh,
today.
yeah.
Sure do.
This machine seemed like it removed material.
Yes, sir.
As if you were doing a hot mix pavement.
Yes, sir, but it will
We'll
work.
be a DBST pavement, and most of the time we want to grind it up and leave it in place to help strengthen the base. But I don't see where this machine is going to grind the DBST up and leave it in place. So we would come back later and do soil cement and make the base stronger.
Let me see if I can find a picture.
It seems like well, I see the machine is removing material.
Yeah.
In a way to not remove material, but to grind that material up in on the existing road.
Okay,
base.
we got you covered. If I had my PowerPoint presentation, it'd be a better picture. Back to your point, this is what we're gonna be replacing and removing. It has 109 on it, okay? That's how many is on that gun. We call them ticks or ticks, okay?
Page 29.
All right, so now to your point, and thank you so much for your question.
And I'm not saying we don't need this, we're just trying to
No,
think
no.
the better way.
No, I want them.
So do y'all offer a rental service where your guy comes and does it?
No, we rent the machine.
You rent their machine without an operator?
Yeah, but what we do is when we rent one, we have one, we will send somebody with it, and they'll give you a couple of days to train, or a day, or most of the time it takes about a day to train somebody. It's not that long.
And again, the reason I'm asking is because looking at the technology of it and all the things that you've got to do and how often we would use it, you know, I just wondered if y'all did offer a rental service, you know, versus a sale, just simply because, you know we need this option, but are we gonna, you know, can we justify it enough to?
We have a couple of customers running them up here.
Okay.
Same exact machine. Falcon runs a couple of them.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, no, Phillips runs a couple. Falcon runs the bigger ones.
Okay.
So if you turn to page 26 and 27, and you'll find out near the upper left-hand corner, near where your thumb is. What we can do, we call this the rear door of the cutter housing. So if we cut 2 inches, that goes down into the cut, cleans the cut behind us, and this drum is upcutting where it's flipping asphalt up on the conveyor belt to be able to get it into the truck. There's some paddles on there that enables that flip. So in your case, we will raise this door and shut the conveyor off and cut it and leave it in place.
Okay, well, that's what I'm looking into.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you got multiple things you can do based on applications. Okay?
Okay.
Last question, how much is a tooth?
A tooth?
Yeah. We normally sell them by the pallet or whatever. You know, the
How
way
much
we
are
use
they?
them.
Well, so teeth are a volume-based product. They're buckets. There's 50 that comes in a bucket. A pallet has 50 buckets on it. Okay? Now you can walk in and buy 1 tooth or a bucket or anywhere in between. But if you get on the pallet discount, you're looking between $5 and $7 a tooth. Somewhere in that ballpark, and I'm shooting from the hip a little bit. That's gonna be close, okay?
I personally think that we should look at renting one to start off with and see how it works before we move forward. If somebody's got a project in their district, you know, we should look at renting one. Because I would question why these other, Falcon and the other ones, you said they're rent them? Is that so they can turn back and turn them in, or they actually own them?
They don't rent them, they own them.
They own them,
They own
okay.
He would be the person that would be
I'd rent it.
renting his company.
If you're gonna rent just the machine, I would be willing to do it.
Okay, I mean, I would recommend before, that we see this as something so new, that we try it somewhere, on a project, rent it, and see what the cost is to do that project, how many teeth we have to replace, what the cost is on it, you know, versus the hours that we're gonna need this.
I'm in the sales business, but your recommendation is a great one. I fully understand, you know. So I'm in the sales business, I'm gonna sell him
And
one to
we can get
rent you,
trained on
okay?
it.
Right.
We get trained on it and see how it works and everything, so that's.
You know, and how often we're gonna use it, I guess is what I'm gonna say. We know, you know, we do roads in the certain times of the year, just like everybody else does, and then we stop. We haven't invested in a lot of equipment, tractors and things like that, bush hogs and things like that. You know, when we even questioned, should we outsource somebody to bush hog our roads? Because, you know, that's those bush hogs sit idle for an entire year until we use them again. So
I'm gonna end, unless you have more questions, with, we sell machines that are cut from 14 inches wide to over 14 feet wide. Some of them weigh a little over 100,000 pounds, over 1,000 horsepower. But I took a 20-inch machine and put it at a curb and gutter in Gallatin, Tennessee, which is Sumner County in Tennessee, this county seat. And I thought, why am I cutting in this real nice subdivision? And this was a demonstration. And it's where they had overlaid asphalt, where the curb and gutter could no longer handle the water. Water was running over one person's yard into another man's garage. And he said, "Mister, you just solved the biggest domestic dispute we've ever had in the city." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he told me that. So there's a lot of applications for this machine that, with a little thinking process, that you'll be able to keep it pretty busy, I think.
okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
You did say this is the full feet
Give a hand, we can get a motion second to acknowledge the report. Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor
Thank you very
Montgomery.
Yeah,
Are there any
thank
questions
you.
concerning the motion?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Aye. Okay, we do have a road management report in our packet. What's the pleasure of the board on the road management report?
I've taken a look at it. I'll make motion to acknowledge this report.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams to acknowledge the report. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Chancellor Clerk, business, Ms. Livingston.
I've got two things. First, there was no CD for the month of December and the funds remain the same at Citizens.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
And also, I need to acknowledge the report from the audit, the financial statement for the year end of 2019 and 2020.
So moved. Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
No, I've got it right.
Oh, are you gonna make us?
I can make Montgomery's.
Okay.
I just got it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, she'll put you one.
Okay, all right. So the audit report will be put in our mailboxes.
That's from 1920 though.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
2019,
Yeah,
2020,
yeah,
because they're
yeah.
not done with,
Right, the one yet.
yes.
Okay, County Administration.
First, thank you all for the reappointment. I appreciate it. Thank you a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the payroll changes for approval.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
You have the 2023 holiday schedule for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
You have the second quarter budget allocation, which
Motion
is
for
for the
approval.
jail, the sheriff, and tax officer.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
We're needing to revise the, October Hall County retiree insurance. The last board order in place referenced MPE, which was the Mississippi Public Entity Insurance. So we just need to have the board order to say that the October Hall County retirees now participate in October Hall County Insurance Benefit, Fund, which is, because we're self-insured. If it say that, and it'll just cover them regardless of who we change to.
You heard the motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams for that particular change. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
We have from the Starkville October Hall School, the 16 section trust land lease that needs to be signed by the board attorney.
Is that something in Sturgis though, right?
They have on there which one this is.
On the back, it's, do y'all see in the back, it's.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what it is from Sturgis. It says, Eskridge.
Yeah.
what,
So
Berkshire
that's, so that's where they're doing, what they're doing in Sturgis.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Miller. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
We need to acknowledge the October Hall County Lake Dam owner inspection report that was performed by Mississippi Engineering Group.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes 5-0.
We have a contract from Justice Court, which is with Advantage Business Systems. If the board wishes for them to stay in business.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
We have credit card charges in the amount of $1,340.70.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
You have the claims docket number 929 through 1357 in the amount of $26,630,862.11. Let me explain first.
Yeah.
We have to account for every check that is written. In the month of November, we have a CD bid in the amount of $23,900,000. So we had to actually write that check, no deposit. We got a great return on the
There you
interest
go.
on it. We now put that money back in the account along with the interest. So the actual claim is $2,730,862.11. So I just kind of want to explain to you all why it's so high, because we did a CD bid in the month of November and we got great return on it.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes.
Okay, two more things.
4-1.
4-1, okay. Two more things. Now that Supervisor Williams has identified where the funds are going for the OPTOP, we will need to put a board order in place to transfer the 1.5 million of the ARPA, as well as, he's getting that $38,732.18. Now, I know Supervisor Miller asked that the attorney check into it and see if the money can be used. Didn't you ask him to do that? So, whatever the board wishes to do, if, we need a board order to move it there or wait for Rob to say what we're gonna do.
Let's move forward.
I make
Move
motion for
forward,
approval
move
on that.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting
I'm
sign.
gonna continue to abstain until we get the legal.
Motion
State
passes
aid.
4-0
The additional state aid
with
dollars.
1 abstention.
Well, we got.
1 abstention, right?
I'm abstaining until we get that information.
4-0, 1
Will you
abstention.
note that? Okay.
Yes,
That's all I have.
okay.
Forgot to ask you.
No, let's don't go.
Okay. Board Attorney.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
You
right.
good? Man, I stayed in for 12 days. I was like, mofo, you coming out.
Okay, nothing you need board action. Captain White, I think you said you got something that you wanted to bring for the board.
Yes. I would ask that y'all go into executive session
So
to hear about the
move.
courthouse security update.
Motion for executive session.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery, that we enter the executive session to talk about
Security.
Security. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by their proper voting sign. In lieu of what's been. No.
I don't think so.
You put it
Yeah, I
up.
think we'll be gone after that. Later.
It's been determined that we need to go into a further executive session to deal with board security. Are there any questions concerning that? If not, let's get a motion.